Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
Hey, Radio Bypass. As you know, we love to turn you on to new music, both from veteran artists and artists just finding their way, just getting started. And today we're super excited to have a new band to learn about today, relatively new to me, perhaps new to you guys as well. Joining us is the band DAZR. How you doing, guys?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to have you guys here. I told you before we started recording how much I love the EP you guys have out. And I think our audience will totally dig it as well. I played the song Unsatisfied a couple weeks back when I first became aware of you. Killer tune. Just love it. But the whole record, all the tracks are great. I cannot wait for a full album from you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you're new to me, you may be new to others as well. So I'd love to hear your story. How long have you been a band? How did you come together? And, tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank, on behalf of all of us, thank you for having us on. We're excited to be here. I'm Grant Hendrix. I'm the guitar player.
Yeah, I'm Austin Hendrix, a singer.
I'm Matthew Shranko, play bass.
Yeah, and so we came together about 3 years ago, and I started the band, and I went and hung flyers all around my college campus looking for, guitar player, looking for this, and this with these influences, And for a month or two, almost every night, I walked 3 to 5 miles every night hanging flyers. So I would go back every week.
Old school doing the flyers.
Yeah, I was making sure people weren't tearing them down because I'd go back to a spot, and this guy had his flyer right next to mine looking for the same damn thing. And so I was like, I looked around and I went, took his and I put a new one. I was like, hey, this is a jungle out here. And so, and that's how I met Shranko. He messaged me off one of those flyers, and then he and I got together and linked up and jammed for a little bit and talked about, actually the first thing I noticed about him, he sent me, whenever he messaged me, I checked out his Instagram and I saw his hair and I was like, all right, this has got to be the guy. I was like, this guy's got to be it.
He doesn't have to play, he just has to have good hair.
Yeah. And so I was like, this guy's got to like rock and roll with hair like that. And so he and I got together and we talked about our influences. We jammed some Deep Purple, Rush, and some like Van Halen and stuff like that. Yeah, we jammed like everything. And then he and I started auditioning singers, and we only actually auditioned one technically.
Yeah,
we auditioned one. He and I auditioned one together, and it just wasn't gonna happen. With that guy, and so Austin, my brother, I'm 25. He's about to be 24 next week. And so we're real close in age. So he and I were both in college together at the same time. And so he and I were living together. And long story short, he auditioned, and I was like, hey, look, man, I was like, just record, this track or whatever of you singing like a little demo. I was like, I'll send it to Shranko. I won't tell him it's you. So if he comes back and goes, this guy sucks, hell no, then I was like, he'll never know it's you. So it's no big deal.
Right.
And so, he sent, and Austin recorded the track, and I sent it to Shranko, and I was like, hey, man, I think I found this guy. I think he sounds pretty good. What do you think? And he comes back with, and he's like, I don't know. I can't really tell. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, maybe I put him up to failure or something. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, I can't tell because he's singing with the song. He was like, I can't hear him because I hear the song. And I was like, no, I was like, that's a backing track. That the only voice on the demo was his. And he was like, oh, that's him? He was like, I thought it was the damn song. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, well, who is it? And I was like, it's Austin. He was like, it's Austin. Because Austin was helping us hang flyers around campus looking for a singer.
Oh, that's funny.
And so we got together like that. And it's funny, we got our band name from, because DAZR, like, what the hell is that? We don't know. And I think that's what makes it such a great name. It's not, something where you know what it is. It's more of just like a
mystique about it.
Yeah, it's got a mystique about it. And so Austin and I were driving back up to our place, and we stopped at a gas station to get gas, and and we were talking about what are we going to call the band, and everything I'd come up with just sounded stupid, or it was just kind of I was nothing.
Band names are hard to come by.
Yeah. And it was nothing that anything that I came up with or any of us came up with was nothing that we felt like, And so Austin and I were getting gas, and Austin was pumping the gas, and I was like, what do you think we should call this? And he was like, dude, I don't know. And then he leaned over to pump gas, and on the fire extinguisher holder thing on the gas pump was somebody graffitied DAZR with the halo. And I was like, well, that looks pretty cool. What do you think about that? And he was like, take a picture of it. Let's go see what Shranko thinks. So we took a picture of it, and long story short, we all dug it, and so we stuck with that, and we added the wings and everything later.
Gotcha. A little bit of an Aerosmith influence with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, because that was going to be one of my questions, how you came up with that name, because I think it could be a cool name, but also could be a tough name. But I know you guys probably put how to pronounce it, because I don't know if everybody would know what is it.
Well, what's kind of funny is for some reason, Austin and I and Shranko, whenever we read it, we all said DAZR. But whenever other people read it, a lot of people say DAZR or DAZR, or we've had Days a Year. We've had everything and anything. So whenever we send emails up, and we've always started putting in pronunciation, pronounced DAZR, so people know.
Right. Well, I was glad to see that too, because but I had the same as you guys though. When I saw the name, I figured it was DAZR, but I felt much better seeing that though, telling me that I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I've had a few bands that came to me where I'm like, I am really not positive how to say this.
Yeah.
So I just go with my gut, and if I like the music, I play it, and I pronounce the band name the way I think it is. And so far, I haven't had anybody come back and say, man, you butchered our name. But I have that fear. So with you guys, I feel much better knowing up front that I'm not going to butcher this name.
Yeah, we've had a few interesting pronunciations before.
I'm sure.
I'm like, that letter's not even in the damn word.
You realize if you saw that drawn at a gas station, it's probably some gang meaning behind it.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought. So we looked it up. I mean, we did a deep dive, and I was looking on like any public FBI thing that they would post with like, this means this. We didn't. The only thing that ever came up were some chrome truck wheels, but it wasn't, all caps. There was no halo, and so it wasn't a company or anything. I was like, I don't know what the hell it is, but let's take it. I think and we haven't gotten shot yet at a gig, so I think we're good.
Thank God. Let's keep it that way, because I saw you got a lot of gigs coming up. So well, that's cool. So that's all right. So that's how you guys came together. And then what about the songs? This EP that you guys put together. Was that a relatively short period of time getting those songs, that batch of songs, or? Yeah,
it was. It's. Because I'm the guitar player, I normally come up with the riffs and everything, and then after that, I'll bring it to the other guys and say, hey, we'll all kind of get a consensus. A lot of times I'll have a batch of riffs and ideas for a song, and then we'll get a consensus on which ones we all collectively like. So then that way I kind of know which ones to focus on, and I can start doing stuff, and then we all get together and make it happen. It's interesting, especially for this EP, it's kind of like a hodgepodge kind of deal, because all those riffs. Aside from Can't Take It Anymore, all those riffs I've had for like the main riffs, maybe not every bit and piece of it, but the main riffs and everything and the chorus riffs and all that I've had since before I even started the band. And except for Can't Take It Anymore, the ballad that I came up with this little guitar, the little bit of the intro on the acoustic, and then Austin and I were sitting in my room, and he immediately started putting words and a melody to it. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. And I was like, let's show Shranko. And he dug it. And I was like, well, let's do something with this. But yeah, I mean, the EP came about pretty quickly. It just, once we all narrowed down which songs we liked and which ones or which ideas we liked, then we kind of all just went full steam ahead and put them all together.
And did you guys produce this yourself, record this yourself? Because the sound quality is very good.
Oh, well, thank you. So we recorded it at a studio, but we produced. We didn't have a producer. We produced it ourselves, and we actually chose this studio that we did the EP on because the engineer there is a really great guy, and he told us, he was like, and he's got, the big thing with us is, I'm sure you can tell by how we look and our look and our sound and everything. We're very old school, and so we don't want overproduced. We don't want auto tune. We don't want hey if the kick drum is a quarter second off the beat, fix it. We didn't want any of that. We wanted to have the ebb and flow of a song.
Mhm.
And so we went and toured several studios because we had gone and recorded some demos at a couple studios before, but nothing that we put out, just stuff for our own benefit. And we went to this guy, and he's got a bunch of old equipment. He's got like the reverb that's on my guitar and Austin's vocal on the whole EP is a real EMT plate 140 reverb from the 70s, and all that. So he's got all the gear, and he told us, and that's one of the things we wanted, a guy who was able to give us kind of what we wanted, because obviously we don't know all the technical, hey, push this button, push that. But he told us, he was like, look, he's like, you guys can do whatever you guys want. He's like, just tell me what you guys want and I'll do my best to make it happen.
Mhm.
And so we produced it ourselves, but we went to a studio to record it.
Nice. Well, you got good results because it really sounds good. And
Thank
then I was looking today actually because I'm not a big video guy. When I hear new music, I like to just hear the music without a picture
Mhm.
because I want to know, what does that song mean to me? How does it speak to me? So I don't like seeing any visuals of what somebody else's, or perhaps even the creator of the song's idea was, what it meant to them. I
Yeah.
want to know how it hits my heart and soul first. So I always delay watching any videos for that reason. So today I finally went and checked out some of your guys' videos, and those look really well done as well. Did you guys
Thank you.
put that all together yourselves too? I mean, those look like, what used
Yeah.
to be very expensive videos to put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did all those videos ourselves. We hired a videographer for each of the videos because we don't have a $8,000 camera or anything.
Right.
As far as the location of the video, and I Can't Take It Anymore has more of like the cut scenes and stuff like that. We found the actress or the model ourselves, and Austin took the lead of directing that whole video for Can't Take It Anymore with the little cut scenes and the model and how it's going to be shot and all that. And so, yeah, everything we've put out has been in-house essentially. So we did everything on that ourselves as well.
You guys are only in your 20s. Amazing.
I'm the old guy and I'm 25.
I wish I could be the old guy and say I'm 25. And well, that's really cool. So you mentioned that you originally didn't have your brother as the singer, and then you guys, the two of you decided, oh, I like the way this guy sounds. So, what's your background, Austin? I mean, had you been singing before? Had you even been thinking of being in a band, or was this kind of, oh, you need a singer? All right, let me give it a shot.
Yeah, it was sprung upon me, but no, but my dad, he's always, he's been in a band growing up and stuff, and always been singing. And for the longest time, he would try to get me on stage, going up there and singing, and I was like so nervous. I was like, no, Dad, I'm not getting up on stage. I do not want to sing. I don't want to be in front of people. I didn't even think I could sing. I've always been good at like mimicking, sounds and stuff. And so Grant was like, hey, I've heard you, either sing in the car a little bit or sing in the shower, just give it a go. And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. And he was like, come on, just do it. Think about it. I was like, all right, give me a week to think about it. He was like, a week? I was like, yeah, give me like a week to think about it. And I was like,
This is just to do the demo.
yeah, just to do the demo. And then I was like, okay. And then so I thought about it, and I was like, well, screw it. If I don't do good, whatever. And then so Grant and I did the demo of it, and it was Too Young to Fall in Love by Motley Crue. And of course, I was super nervous and stuff. And that's when we, cut the demo and stuff and sent it to Shranko. And then Shranko was like, I can't hear him because, he's singing with the song. Like he thought it was Vince singing the song. Grant was like, no, that's Austin. He was like, well, what the hell? He's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
That's the classic. You don't know what you have right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know, I could sing and stuff or had potential to sing until, the two of them heard me for the first time, because I was super nervous to sing in front of them the first time. And then, as anything, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And definitely a lot of work putting into it, but it's been pretty good so far. So
if you had that kind of reservation in this environment, just doing a recording like that, was it hard for you to transition to doing live shows? Was that super cracking?
No, I mean, I think our first show that we did, it was actually at a RV park in Clemson, South Carolina. And that one, I wasn't nervous to sing because we had been, prior to our first gig, we had been rehearsing, I think, for like, a month almost.
No.
Months.
Or we had been rehearsing for months, but
Four days a
like
week.
4 days a week for like 6 hours to get down like our covers and everything. We didn't have any originals at that point. And so singing wise and getting up there playing and stuff, we were all pretty sonically sound. As far as, the showmanship and watching the footage back, we were like, oh, we gotta work on some stuff.
Right.
But,
Next time.
Yeah, that's everybody's first one. But I mean, it came pretty naturally. I think after about, 10 to 15 shows, I stopped getting the jitters before going on and singing and being in front of people. But yeah, now it just feels like supernatural to be up there. So yeah.
Good. So you found your comfort zone. I was curious when you being with that story, you made me think of the singer Rod Stewart.
Uh,
There, he's told this story, and Jeff Beck has told this story when he first joined the Jeff Beck group when he was brand new to the music world. He was very, 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 very nervous about singing in front of people and actually faced the drummer most of the time with his back to the audience until
Yeah.
he got a few shows under his belt and started getting more comfortable.
yeah.
So when you were describing being nervous about singing the demo, I'm wondering if you might have the same issue your first time up on a stage.
Yeah, it was funny because the first time I sang in front of them, we were actually we were playing a couple songs that we all decided to go practice on our own and then come back and rehearse it together. And so we're in Grant's room and he's got his closet in there, and I was like, I'm gonna stand back in the closet just so they can't see me. I'm gonna sing.
So you get good acoustics that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I came out and was just like super red. I was sweating. I was like, hey, I guess I'm not too bad.
But it's
so.
funny now because if you cut, because and I'm sure you can tell by everything you've seen us that we're a very, very live band. Our music videos are infomercials for our show. Everything you see on the music video, that's what you see at the show. And it's funny now because if you had told me, 3 years ago, Austin would be on stage in front of however many people with a shirt off, leaning down and talking to girls and stuff, I'd be like, you're out of your mind. But now it's just second nature. So.
Are you two different people? Are you kind of more introverted and quiet when you're off the stage, and then you become this other person when you're on the stage?
I wouldn't say I have a character or anything. I mean, we just all love to perform. So whenever I get up there, let's get up there and do what we love to do. Whenever I come off, we're all super nice guys, very conversational. So I wouldn't say so.
Gotcha.
It's just enhanced when it's on stage.
Yeah, it's like you put the mask on, like Jim Carrey. Whatever word enhances you when you get on stage.
Wow. That amazes me. And again, the music that you guys are creating, I've asked this of other young musicians. We've got a few people here in Sacramento where I'm at, some young guys like yourselves, creating this kind of music. And here I get to go see them play live. I hope you guys can get out to the West Coast sometime.
Yeah.
I can see you guys live too, or if I can get out your way. But I always ask this question, and I'm curious what you guys think. Like, do you feel that your peers, not my peers, not my age group, but that your peers, that they're interested in this kind of music?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. Because we started in a college town. That's where we started. Our first, we all met at Clemson, South Carolina, and we were playing the college bars, all in Clemson at USC. We're playing the college circuit, and I mean, you got dudes are into us, and their girlfriends are even more into us, and they were like, dude, you guys kick ass. What are you doing here? Like, because a lot of times we would go, because the way we present ourselves, we don't wear shorts and a t-shirt on stage. All the other college bands are wearing shorts and sneakers and we look the way we look, and we got the hair, we got the Marshall stacks, the big drums and all the thing. And so a lot of times we would go play these college gigs, and they think we're like on a tour, and they think we're from out of town. I'm like, dude, I live 5 minutes down the street. I'm like, I have an accounting class at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'm like, you're probably in it. And so, no, I mean, I'll tell you a quick funny story. We I'm sure you know the song Highway Star by Deep Purple.
Of course.
And we were playing that at one of these college bars, and afterwards, this girl comes up to me and she goes, "Oh my God, that last song, did you guys write that?" And I looked over at Shrank and I was like, "Yes, we did." But yeah, we get a great response from people our age. They love the show.
That's so refreshing to hear because I was just having this conversation with a young musician just the other day because a lot of the shows that I go to here, where it's the young guys like you playing, I mostly see people like me at the show, and nothing against my generation, but I want to see this music for you guys, the young guys that are choosing to do this, to be able to have a career from it. And so I worry if it's only people my age coming to check you out and getting excited about it, that doesn't sustain you for a long time. So I
Yeah.
want to see people your age getting excited about it. And not only a new generation of the people creating the music, but a new generation of people that appreciate the music. You know?
Yeah. I
So,
think there's like sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh
I just
no,
want to
that's fine.
speak to your point. I think they're kind of like what happened in the late 80s with hair metal, where at a certain point in the late 80s, everybody started looking and sounding the same. All the music videos were the same. I think in today's music, people are at that point again where all the rap sounds the same, all the hip hop sounds the same, all the pop sounds the same. It's all overproduced. It's all, just all that. And, I think when a band like us comes out that's going completely against the tide, and not only that, but doing it completely the way you're not supposed to do it by not, we don't use auto tune. Whenever we play live, we don't use click tracks. We don't use backing tracks. Everything you hear and see, 100% the four dudes that are on the stage. And
Right.
I think that's refreshing to a lot of people, and especially the younger people, because the younger generation, people that are our age, they never got to go see Van Halen in their prime or Guns N' Roses or Aerosmith. You guys did, and so
Right.
in a way, it's complete. It's new, but it's not new. In a way, it's new because this generation has never seen it. They may have heard it on their dad's radio, but they never saw four guys in their 20s kicking ass on a stage and blowing their faces off. And I think that is what the live aspect of it is, what is reigniting that interest.
Good. Well, that makes me really happy to hear because yeah, that's how it should be. Rock and roll should be live, and sometimes it's gonna suck. You mentioned Aerosmith. That was my number one favorite band. I saw them many, many times, and I've often told my friends that some of my very best concerts I ever went to was Aerosmith. Also, some of the very worst concerts I went to was Aerosmith because they had some, not good nights when the drugs were kicking in way too much. And it was one show in particular always stands out in my head. It was just a nightmare show. But that's okay for me because it was still real. And that's what I like is real, the not necessarily just pop music, but so much in general, but it seems to be a lot of pop. It's not all live. It's and I don't like that. I like it to be live, and I rather, if I love your singing voice, which I do love your singing voice, but if you happen to have a bad night and you crack on a note or something, for me, that's not going to be, oh man, this guy sucks now because he hit a bad note. For me, it's going to be, oh cool, shit happens when it's live. So I
Luckily, we've
appreciate
never had a
that.
train wreck.
Yeah, exactly. Or you miss a note on the guitar or whatever. If I can even catch it, because most of the time the musicians playing are way more noticing if they miss something than the audience is anyway. But if you did and I caught it, I'd still be like, okay, cool. At least I know this is real. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that people are receptive of that, at least in your area. Do you guys get out of South Carolina much? Like where do you guys play?
Yeah, we do. So we've played pretty much every state in the Southeast. Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. Am I missing one?
Virginia.
We're going to be playing Virginia in a few months. So we're pretty southeastern right now. We haven't been able to get out to, the West Coast yet. We would love to at some point. Right now we're really trying to build up that residency of those, the local following as much as possible first before we can start shifting things around. But yeah, we play all over the Southeast as much as we can.
Nice. And these places support, I'm sure you're doing still covers as well, but they support playing original material as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so of course, when we first started, it was just covers because nobody's going to book you if nobody's going to book you if nobody's heard of you. You're a new band and you want to play your original music. Good luck getting a big gig anywhere.
Right.
So, of course, we started out with the 3-hour cover shows. That's what everybody does. But then once we started writing and we got songs down, even before like the EP was released, even before it was recorded, we had the songs written and we were already sprinkling them in our set. And then, now that the EP's out, we're to the point where, we'll do some cover shows with, of course, our EP in there here and there, but we're, focusing on original shows with maybe a cover or two that we make our own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is always nice too. I like that you said that because I do sometimes like a carbon copy, yes, but I really don't want to hear a bunch of parrots. I do like it when people take somebody else's song and, they don't have to change the whole thing, but maybe something that makes it a little bit their own, a little bit unique to it. So I like that idea.
Yeah.
You guys really seem, very smart about all this.
Well, thank you.
And you guys are doing everything yourselves. You're your booking agent and
yeah. So that
everything.
Tammy's actually our booking agent.
Okay.
And she helps with the booking and everything. We definitely have a support system behind us that helps us, for sure. And that wouldn't, anything we do wouldn't be possible without that support system. But as far as videos, recording, writing, performing, all that's us. And we rehearse 4 days a week. We rehearse Monday through Thursday, gig Friday, Saturday. So, and, Sunday we'll either take off if it was a local gig or we'll be driving back. So, we're working 24/7,
Wow, that's impressive. I'm impressed. Well, good. Well, I hope that the world soon knows DAZR everywhere. I saw on your website, sounds like, I think something in Greece, maybe it was, gave you guys a
Yeah.
real nice write-up. And this EP just came out in February of this year, correct?
Yeah,
Even
it
though
just
I
came out a couple months
recently-
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were pretty blown away with the response on our most recent music video, Can't Take It Anymore, because it had been in 2 months, it had gotten over 350,000 views in 2 months, which is
Amazing.
a lot for it, especially with us, because we didn't have a large subscriber count or anything like that beforehand. So it's not like we were pushing out everybody that already follows us. These are new people that are discovering us, and a lot of those people are from all over the world, and that's actually what led to the interview in Greece was the video.
Gotcha. Well, you guys better get your passports ready because maybe you'll be playing some festivals over there.
Yeah.
Because they really support this kind of music there, I gotta say. I see that with the weekly music show that I do, especially England. I see a lot of listeners that, and some of them now subscribe regularly to the podcast, and then others kind of come and go. But sometimes I see more listeners listed for the UK than sometimes even in our country, depending on, I guess, what bands I played that particular week.
Yeah.
But they really seem to embrace this kind of music big time there, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's awesome. So, I guess one of the other things, as such young guys, I'll ask each of you one quick question just for fun. So, guitar player, favorite guitarist.
Eddie Van Halen.
All right. Bass player, favorite bassist.
I would have to say Geddy Lee.
Geddy Lee. Okay. Favorite vocalist.
Sebastian Bach.
Interesting choices. Okay. I don't disagree with any of those. I have some others that come to mind as well, but that good choices. All right. So you guys know your stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys always, all three of you, I'm asking this too, have you all been into this kind of music since you were little, or is it a more when you became teenagers? Like what,
Yeah, I think
how did you get interested in this music?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me at least, my dad and just him playing it all the time. Like the first song that I can remember listening to, I believe it was "You Really Got Me" by Van Halen. That's the first song I remember ever hearing in my life that I can remember. But I think definitely my dad's influence and just listening to his music.
Yeah. And for me, I specifically what got me into guitar was my dad played the guitar. But I remember, I don't remember if it was for my birthday or Christmas or something, but I was probably like 7 years old, and I got this thing. It was like a little guitar amp you'd hook up on your belt or something, and it had something like a pick, but there was no fretboard. And if you did this in front of it, it would play a riff.
Okay.
And it had different settings or whatever, so like you could pick three different riffs. And I put it on like one or whatever the setting was, and I went like this, and it went down now, wow now, now. It was Cat Scratch Fever, and I was like, that sounds pretty cool. And then the second one was down na. It was, you really got me. And then the third one was on the water, and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. I want to be able to do this for real.
That's awesome. So when did you pick up a guitar with strings?
I think the very first time I picked up a guitar was probably about 10. But I didn't really start playing. I started playing guitar. I would really consider me actually playing and not, just kind of screwing around, probably about 13, 14. And then I really got serious about it in high school. And that's whenever, I transitioned to, getting into a lot of electric. Actually, that's whenever I really heard Van Halen for the first time. And I was like, all right, if I'm going to play guitar, I want to be that good, And so then that's how I got a deep dive. And so we all grew up with this kind of music. And I'm sure, Shranko, you grew up the same way.
Yeah, no, basically back in the day, riding around with my dad, pretty much all he played was AC/DC. So, I mean, I just knew all those songs by heart. He actually had learned a little bit of good acoustic guitar, and he played a little bit, and he got me an electric for, I don't know, I was probably single digits. I pretty much only learned one song. I learned Another One Bites the Dust. I learned the bass line on guitar because it was one string. It was easy.
Right.
And I eventually, around like sixth grade, I got into like wind instruments, and I did that stuff through high school and stuff. But at some point, I picked up the bass. I remembered Another One Bites the Dust, and I was like, I actually like the bass a lot more than guitar, so I'll just stick with that.
Less strings.
So
Yeah,
like to work about. Absolutely.
Do you play a Rickenbacker since you mentioned Geddy Lee?
I do. I have
Do you
a
really?
77 white 4001.
Nice. I used to have one of those. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So what's next for you guys? You got some live shows coming up. I know I saw that. Obviously the EP is the word's still spreading on it to, like me just finding it as well. But so you probably don't have plans for another release real soon, but what's in the pipeline for you guys?
Yeah, so for us, we're playing as much as possible, as much as we can. We already have an album's worth of material written. And so our plan is at some point, we haven't nailed down a date to go record or anything, but at some point this year, we want to put out the full album. And so, and even before we released the EP and went and recorded it, we almost had the full album done, but we decided, hey, let's really focus on 4 or 5 and put as much as we can into those 4 or 5. And then after that, really tighten the screws on the other ones we had a little, we weren't totally finished with yet. And then we'll go in and do the album with those as well. So our plan is, keep playing live as much as possible, take every opportunity we can and get in the studio and record the album by the end of the year.
Nice. Good. Well, I, for one, will look forward to some more songs for sure.
Thank you.
But is there anything else? Is there anything I missed? Anything else we should know about the band DAZR?
I don't know. Just that we're here and we're ready to kick ass.
Yeah.
I like it. And you are kicking ass for sure.
Thank you.
All right. So then, before we wrap up, I need you, except I got to get my pen here. I need you because I want everybody to hear a song. Like I said, I played Unsatisfied on our music show. So I'd like to take another track and add it to the end of our conversation here and let you guys pick it and tell us why that song and what the song means to you.
Yeah, I think we're going to do Hold the Line.
Hold the Line. All right, let me write that down because...
Not the Toto one.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Actually, I do like that song, but... all right. So tell us about Hold the Line. What's the inspiration of that song and why you choosing that one?
Yeah, so that's one of the ones. That's actually one of the riffs that I had since before the band. The main riff for that song, and you know, for me, I think it's a very diverse song because there's the higher energy part, there's a low energy part, there's a cool ending. It's just for one song, it's pretty diverse, and I think it showcases just it showcases our aggression, but without metal. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not too heavy to the point where it's metal, but it showcases just the energy and transposes our feelings of live band and everything. And then also can speak to the lyrics for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, the lyrics, I think speaks to the people who stick to what they want to do and what their passion is, and not letting anybody tell them any different. Basically telling everybody else to screw off. That's what the song's about. Hold the line. Don't let anything get in your way. There's no plan B in anything if you really want to do it, and hold that true, and it'll happen. So
yeah, because one of my favorite lyrics in the song, because this is whenever I thought it was really cool. Austin came to me and he was like, he's working on the chorus actually, and he was like, I was like, so what do you have? Because anytime we all get an idea when we're working on a song, we always bounce it off each other. It's not like Austin's like, hey, these are the lyrics, guys, and I'm like, hey, this is the riff. We all work together.
Right.
And Austin was like, shut your mouth and watch your tone. Always doing what you're told. You're running out of time. Hold the line. And I was like, I like that because at the time, Shranko just finished college. I dropped out of college. Austin dropped out of college. People are telling us, hey man, music ain't gonna work out. You need to go get a job. You need to go get a degree. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. I want to rock out. That's what I want to do. And Austin, wrote the lyrics inspired by that.
Right. Oh, I like it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. That's very good. All right, guys. Well, then we're going to play that song in just a minute, everybody. But also, people can find you. I think the website's DAZRband.com.
Yeah, it's
Or
the band,
DAZR Band.
the band DAZR.com.
Band. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah.
I'll have a slide in this too. But for you guys that just listen, go check out their website, thebanddazer.com, and that's DAZR is how you spell it. And everybody, if you didn't catch when I played Unsatisfied from these guys a couple of weeks back, make sure you stick around now to hear Hold the Line. But go visit their website, follow them on social media, and check out the EP and support these guys. Buy the EP. Selling physical product is really helpful as well, not just streaming. So check these guys out. You'll love it. Trust me. I've listened to the EP. I don't even know how many times now, and I only just became aware of them very recently, and I'm still loving what I'm hearing every single time I hear it. So check these guys out, DAZR, DAZR. And guys, thank you so much for taking some time and coming and sharing your story with us. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, my pleasure. All right, everybody, here it comes right now. DAZR rocking out with Hold the Line.